So right now, we're gonna walk right out that door, and I'm gonna find some super useful and common idioms to help you improve your fluency. Let's go. Hey everyone, my name is Wes. This is Interactive English, which is the place that you want to be to practice and improve your English. And today I am out and about, I'm outside, and I'm gonna try to find some different idioms to help you improve your overall fluency. So let's just go, let's get out of here. A second, I should probably take you with me and the camera. Here we go. So here we have some bushes. And the next idiom that I want to teach you is to beat around the bush. And what it means if somebody is beating around the bush, it just means that, let me have a seat real quick. It means that somebody is not speaking directly, or they're speaking indirectly. So instead of saying what's on their mind, instead of just saying it straightforward, they beat around the bush and they kind of maybe give you clues. And sometimes the reason you do this and you don't say things directly is because you're trying not to upset someone. And I think this is very common in certain environments like work or home. If you're talking to a colleague and you don't want to upset them and you have some news that you need to tell them, you might beat around the bush. Or at home, something happens and it's bad news and you don't want to tell your mother, father, husband, wife, you might beat around the bush instead of just coming right out and saying it directly. So I think this is something that, well, I think a lot of us do it. Some of us, I think, are very direct and we don't beat around the bush. But I think a common way this idiom is used is somebody is speaking indirectly and the other person would say, stop beating around the bush. Just tell me what you have to say. Stop beating around the bush.
Please, I will never beat around the bush like that.
Come on in. Have a seat. I'm not going to beat around the bush here.
Will, you don't have to beat around the bush. I know exactly what you're getting at.
Another great idiom is to bark up the wrong tree. And what this means is that you're trying to tell someone that they're making a mistake, that whatever they're saying or doing is wrong. And it's almost like you know what the right answer is or what this person should be doing. And they're making a mistake and you could tell them, look, you're barking up the wrong tree. This is a mistake. You shouldn't be barking up this tree. You should be barking up that tree over there.
I've got my beady eye on you. You're barking up the wrong tree.
And there's heaven. But who's that? Confucius. Boy, have I been barking up the wrong tree.
So you can see right behind me, here is the river. And a river, well, a river will flow. So the next idiom that I have for you is to go with the flow. And what this means, if you say, well, I'm gonna go with the flow, it means that you are going to accept a situation and kind of relax. You're not gonna try to change things. You're just gonna go with the flow. So I think this is a great idiom that can be used if somebody might be asking, well, what are you going to do? You're going to enter a situation and what's your reaction going to be? And say, well, I'm just gonna go with the flow. I'm not gonna try to control things. I'm going to relax. I'm gonna see what everybody else is doing and I'm just going to accept what is going on. I'm gonna go with the flow. When I'm traveling, especially with a group of people and everybody, maybe they wanna do different things, I like to just go with the flow.
But you know what? We're not going to rush this time. We're just going to go with the flow.
So you're on board now?
Yeah, I just go with the flow.
A good fighter needs to know how to improvise, to go with the flow.
Oh, I don't care. You know me. I just go with the flow.
All right, so let me show you. This right here is a bud. All right, and that's gonna help you understand the next idiom, which is to nip something in the bud. So if you think of like, a flower, like we're looking at right now, before a flower blossoms, it's in the bud and then the bud will blossom. So to nip something in the bud is to stop something at an early stage. And you're stopping it before it becomes established. And most of the time you're going to use it and say, okay, you know the situation, you know what you need to stop, and you might say, we need to nip this in the bud. We need to stop it We need to stop something at this early stage before it develops, before it grows, before it becomes a thing, something that's established, and then you cannot stop it anymore, and you want to nip it in the bud.
I never should have let her do this Maxim thing in the first place.
I'm going to nip this thing in the bud. Is going to make a public apology tomorrow on Hardball.
Yeah, I gotta nip this in the bud. This has catastrophe written all over it.
And you can expect the same thing from everyone in this office if you don't nip this whole employee of the month situation in the bud.
So the next one that I have for you, it's actually an expression, and that is to knock on wood. And if somebody says this, it means that they are just hoping for good luck to happen. And you could say it to somebody else and just say, you know, knock on wood. And actually, I don't know if this is real wood, but you will hear this quite often if you want to, well, wish someone luck or hope that they have good luck for a performance or a test or basically anything, and you just say, you know, knock on wood. Or maybe you want to give hope to yourself for something you're getting ready to do. Say, I wish for the best. I hope I do well. Knock on wood.
Actually, this would be my first foray into the trial process. I haven't had to go to court yet. Knock on wood.
Let him see he's not the only one who builds solid houses, you know? I think he'll be pretty impressed, knock on wood.
So all along right here, these are rocks. Actually, they're kind of like, they're more like pebbles, but it really has to do with the next idiom that I want to teach you, and that is if you say that someone is living under a rock. And if somebody says this, if you hear it, it means that if somebody has been living under a rock, it means that this person is ignorant to something that is well known, that there is some event, something is happening that you think everybody should know about. And if somebody says, well, I don't know about this thing, then you could ask, like, whoa, what's wrong with you? Have you been living under a rock? So if you hear this expression, it means that, yeah, they're referring to somebody who is ignorant to some news, some information that is very well known that you think everybody should know about, to be living under a rock.
They all work together. God, have you been living under a rock?
You know David Guetta? Have I been living under a rock? Yeah. That song is my jam.
I am the Beastmaster from the movie Beastmaster. What rock have you been living under?
What's this? What, have you been living under a rock? This is the new meme. Cat-breaded Taylor Swift reporting.
So we're outside having a little bit of a picnic right now, and you can see that this right here is grass. There's quite a bit of it, and it's actually not an idiom, it's a phrase that I want to teach you, and that is grassroots, because I think this is a very useful phrase to know, and especially it's something you may hear if you're listening to the news. And what it means is it's talking about the basic level of some activity or organization or even some cause. And I think that's how people use it quite often if you're talking about some grassroots campaign, and it's happening at the most basic level, people getting informed, people becoming motivated to create some change. And you could say that their campaign, it's grassroots. It's happening at that basic level. So I wanted to teach you that phrase because, well, we're outside and there's plenty of grass.
The Tea Party presents itself as a grassroots movement, which means it should be fiercely resistant to central control.
I understand that grassroots activism actually runs in your family.
So I opted for a more grassroots approach to get the word out.
So I'm not going to beat around the bush. Those are all the idioms I have for you this lesson, and I hope you learned some new ones. If you did, please hit that like button. We are now going to play in these fountains right here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time.